And welcome back. I wanted to talk about the personas and the different, I guess, user types that we talk to. And because this is still talking about some use cases, I wanted to make sure I kept you guys up to speed on who we're actually like envisioning that we're talking to here. And so this is an example that we did with one of our beauty e-commerce partners, and we really dug deep with them into who these customers are, what we know about them, what we understand their motivations are. And it's a very rich and varied life. Some of them can be beginners, some of them can be super experts about this, but it's varied. And so we tried to encapsulate it into these different user types or personas that we talk about, and you'll see them all throughout here, just to kind of represent the different kind of messaging that we send them, the touch points that we reach them at, the surface areas that they engage in, and what really matters to them. Because we're not just a business. We don't want to just partner and make sure the businesses talk about the products, but really what resonates with users. And so especially now that AI ChatGPT is everywhere, I think the expectation from consumers and from users of your products is that it's gotten higher. The level of personalization that they expect is definitely not just hello Patty or sending me a lunch campaign during lunchtime, but really understanding motivations, understanding behavior, and predicting and giving them the right content at the right time. And so we did this example, or this I guess exercise of really going through every single like customer review on their app store, FGDs, and figuring out what it is that users love and not love about your brand or your app. And we kind of uh, encapsulated them into these, like, I think 7 or 8 different value propositions of quality, ease of use, service, efficiency, and being informative and variety, and really digging deep and making sure that the content we serve hits on these values, or these things that resonate with our users. And so you'll see more of this in the next couple of slides. For example, you know, we talk about surface areas. And I think a lot of what we've shown in the past, and maybe people have thinking, we've seen this before, oh, you guys do push notifications, but actually it's any surface area that you can imagine. And a lot of the success we're seeing now is through content cards. And so if you are a user of a CRM platform that has content cards, this is for you. Essentially, we're able to pipe back in information that really gets into the user journey. It's no longer just on an email or on a push notification. Actually, we can help manipulate and really personalize on a user level the product experience. And so when you enter the app, you see, sure, you're talking about their name. Yes, that's basic, but actually we're showing you these different like content cards of pics that speak to quality, that speak to ease of use, that speak to convenience. And all of this content is ready and available. It's just that usually a carousel of products or a carousel of information is very static or segment level. But here you can develop content cards that really resonate with your users. Another thing that we've shown is really omni-channel. Like I mentioned a while ago, the channels that we're available on are basically any surface area. And so having that touch point on WhatsApp, or, messaging apps are so all the rage, I guess, or maybe a channel that hasn't necessarily been optimized in some parts of the world, but in Asia especially, WhatsApp is king. And so making sure you are able to reach them with the right content, whether people associate as being a trendsetter, or just being into skincare, and talking about how we value their loyalty, and showing them the different perks, or the values that they get out of their membership, hitting them in channels that really resonate with them, whether it's WhatsApp or email or push. We want to make sure we're everywhere. And so it would be a different experience, a different time, and maybe even a different channel for each of them. Another version of like a content card that works a little bit with behavior is really incentives. And again, speaking from a Southeast Asian context, incentives are huge here, in that promos are the way to go, but it's not necessarily the case. We've seen our models predict and working alongside a promo module, or some of our customers don't have one, and so they really rely on our recommender to recommend the right incentive to the right person. Because if somebody is less than 50% going to convert, then we probably don't even send them a we don't send them such a big incentive, as opposed to people who are super likely to convert, maybe 90% likely to convert. We don't send them an incentive at all. But there's that sweet spot between 50 to 90 where you can send a better incentive. And we've seen some pretty funny and very insightful results from some customers where it's like, why send someone a 10%? Why send someone a 20% incentive when actually they converted it to a 10%? And so we can work on these incentives based on the behaviors that we've seen within the app, the different app engagement. Did someone view the deals page? Did someone not view the deals page? Are they more likely to convert with it? Are they more likely to churn? And so being able to see and track that through our label management, through, you can see incentives, you can see the level of incentives. Is it buy one, take one? Is it percentage off? Is it a lack of incentive that will get them to convert? And so all of that you can see and monitor who is converting, who is adding to cart, and who is engaging with messaging. Also, like, I mentioned a couple channels, but email is huge. And we definitely see a lot of traction now, not just with ad hoc emails, but something called sequences. You can sequence a couple of messages. We're working on onboarding flows here and seeing like retention rates on users that really have a great email experience as they onboard. Traditional CRM tools, you really get email one on day one, plus 3 days, you get email two. But we're actually seeing that not everyone needs like a 10 journey email. Instead, we sequence maybe 3 or 4 emails and see actually after the third, they're quite good, or other users only need one email to really get onboarded fully. And so we can customize and make sure that every single email journey is targeted. It is very much optimized for them, and again resonates with value propositions that they want. So for example, efficiency or quality or convenience. And then finally, we also work with chatbots. And this is a really interesting use case because we took a look at how the chatbot experience was for someone that had interacted with other touch points. So someone that opened an email, someone that clicked on a content card, someone that, or didn't. And knowing all these things about these different personas, if somebody is into service and efficiency versus someone that's like, into variety or rewards, we feed all those labels or information back into the system so that the chatbot, once you open it up and talk to these users, can produce such a richer experience for them, because now you know that actually this person cares about rewards. Let me tell them about rewards first when they open the chatbot, as opposed to somebody that prefers more service. You can make sure you give them all the information, all the different services you guys have. And so even chatbots are a service area that we're really seeing some interesting traction now with some of our partners, and super curious to understand more use cases here. And finally, like I mentioned, it's not just, it really is any surface area, whether it's your website or offline apps that help you engage. So some of our partners actually have an offline component to them. And so we've empowered, the on the ground staff with information about users that we've learned from their engagement with content. And we feed that back in. So every single user now has a profile that tells, the offline agent, I guess, or the customer service person on the ground in store on retail, that like, oh, this person that you're talking to, or, as they're checking out, they're into service or they're into efficiency. And so I'm going to go the extra mile to say something or recommend something that really resonates with that, down to the, the content you show on your website or in any other touch point. So really, it goes full loop. You learn something about them through channels, you bring it back into the user experience, and it becomes you keep learning and iterating, and the model keeps learning and you keep learning as well.